We're not doing a warm up. We're not testing.
Well, our levels are the same as they were before, and I haven't unplugged anything.
I moved my microphone.
It's fine. I'll adjust it in the post.
Full faith in the system.
I think I do a pretty good job. I mean,
I don't have any faith in the system.
It's okay.
We just spent 2 hours talking about it.
All right, you hit us with the
right,
intro this time.
Here's the intro. Welcome to the Errata Sonata. I'm Noah.
And I'm Ian.
And we are your hosts of the Errata Sonata podcast.
You're smirking. You're smiling. Something's going on over there.
I'm thinking.
You're thinking.
But you may not know this, but I'm a little bit of a sneakerhead.
Oh, actually, you know what? We've talked about it very mildly, but like I don't know much about the sneaker community.
Yeah, I don't really get involved with it anymore. It's just a lot of money for collectibles.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
That's why you're smirking. You're just so sneaky.
Kind of like Digimon. But anyways, Nike had this thing called like Nike ID or something.
They were gonna ID. They were gonna say. No. They were gonna say, "Show us your papers. If you're undocumented, you can't buy Nikes."
You could go online and just fully customize a pair of shoes. Like choose all the colors and everything.
Okay.
And then when you're done, you just hit order, and then they make that pair of shoes and ship it out to you.
Yeah.
Imagine a world. Join me for a second in a world where you go online and you look up whatever Digimon cards you want, and you pick like 50. A full deck size, and you add them all to like one page, and then you hit submit order, and Bandai prints out that full page for you and sends it to you.
Now, Noah, you know I would love that, but I find it wild that you just told me not to talk about this further off the pod, and now we're going right back to it.
I didn't tell you not to talk about it.
Yeah, because I think cards by demand should be the norm.
What I think is that like you shouldn't just be able to go online and be like, I want one card and order it. But what I'm talking about is like Bandai still charges you like maybe $100. So like you're paying like $2 a card. Or maybe let's say 55. So it's like that's a full deck with an egg deck.
So I'll tell you what that would facilitate. And maybe this is not a bad thing. What that would facilitate is local game stores would buy up 50 copies for their community and sell them to their community.
No.
With a certain amount of markup.
But then that takes away the consumer going online and just customizing
their
deck.
I personally am not going to buy 50 copies of Leviamon.
No, you don't buy one. You missed my description.
Okay. You're saying that you're buying different cards. I'm building a whole sheet.
You're building a sheet, and then Bandai prints that sheet because they're already pretty. Like if you see a sheet that they print out, it's a massive sheet.
Yes.
And then they get them all cut automatically. You're basically doing that.
I understand what you're implying. I think that would be great. The only issue with that description is foiling gets a little bit messy.
Why?
Well, because like some cards from that are then going to have to go through like second or third sets of care and work.
No.
After they're printed.
All cards from now on are all foil.
Oh, you want 100% universal? So also that means no textured foiling either.
No, all textured foil.
No, because textured foiling is individually done.
Oh, you're right.
So they can't be.
No, it's not. I've seen sheets.
So you're telling me that if I have a textured foil. Give me 2 textured foiled cards.
Rune mode.
So a rune mode and a?
Zed Garurumon.
Sure, a Zed Garurumon. Do you think that the foiling on them would be identical?
No, they're not identical. But what I'm saying is I've seen a sheet before it's been cut of Bandai cards, and they had a whole assortment of cards on them.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying that they did manage to put the foil on the individual cards pre-cut.
Yes.
Oh, I assumed it was applied after printing.
I mean, as soon as you brought that up, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But then I realized I had seen a sheet. Like somebody posted pictures online because they work for a printing company and Bandai was.
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe each square on the sheet is almost like individually treated. So they might be able to apply foiling in that before cut and then just like cut off the excess foil.
My dream of all dreams.
Okay.
If I could dream the impossible dream. Is to have a job for like a printing company that works for Bandai. Because I work in automation.
Yeah.
So basically what it comes down to is somebody says, we want you to automate this. Here's a bunch of our product. Like this is for you to test on. Whatever happens to it.
Yeah.
And my dream
is for Bandai to give you the sheets.
Well, it wouldn't be Bandai. It'd be like a printing company for Bandai that says like, we want you to automate this cutting process or this printing process. And then they're like, here's some product. And they just ship us like 50 sheets of Digimon cards. And I say, all right. And I get out my pair of scissors and I start cutting out my cards.
Yeah, I mean, we we often talk about the things that I would want to happen to card printing and card by demand. The real truth is this: in the same way that companies have hit a saturation point, where they're planning obsolescence a lot more openly and clearly, that is the same thing with Bandai. I think that they are making the choice to give us a worse product because it works for them financially, and giving us a better product might not work for them financially as well. If there were not as many speculative buyers, they might not get as many day one sales of boxes. Yeah. Sure, people might be happy to buy up their playsets later or buy their decks on a print by demand service, but they do make money out of printing a bunch of bulk cards and giving it to us, and then it goes to a landfill.
It's like how when the lottery is only $10 million, I only buy one a day. But when it's $50 million, I buy two a day.
I thought you were going to say 50 a day.
50 like, a day.
This guy's, it's a linear strategy.
One day I'll win. As long as I buy in bulk, you know?
Oh, you think that the winning ticket is going to be like, slipped in the middle of the pack.
Did you see that somebody in the Untouchables community
won the lottery today?
No.
Oh no, they got a double.
They got a double.
Yeah. So explain what happened.
They were opening their EX6 pack, and at the back of their pack was an alt art, special rare alt art Ophanimon, and stuck to the back of this special rare alt art Ophanimon was another special rare alt art Ophanimon.
Yeah.
So it must have gone through the press.
It's a production issue.
Yeah. And they just got stuck together so they didn't get separated. And so he got a double hit in this one pack.
Yeah.
Those are going for like $250.
I'm not surprised that that's happening, because every time I've opened up a, what are they called? Not starter decks, but constructed deck.
Yeah, the advanced structure decks.
Yeah,
they're so sticky.
They're so sticky. And I think to myself, wow, how do they not get stuck together in the process? So there we go. It does happen.
And what a card for it to happen with, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. The foiling probably is what does it, because the cards that always are stuck together are the highly foiled cards in the advanced structure decks.
I feel like I see so few misprints with Bandai cards.
They've
notable
been in the card game market for quite a while.
Another notable one, yeah, but Pokemon has so many misprints.
Oh, really?
It's so bad. They have
I would
so
not have
many.
guessed that.
Yeah. But another notable one that somebody posted was an Yggdrasil card without the egg back. It had just a regular Digimon back.
Oh.
Which is weird.
So, out of curiosity, what is the legality of running a misprint?
It's completely legal.
So, okay, you have no... So you are allowed to put Yggdrasil in your deck?
Yeah, well, you're not going to see the back of it anyway.
Yeah, that's good. No, but like...
Oh, you mean like... Because it doesn't have an egg back.
It has a regular card back. I'm gonna draw it to hand. I'm gonna play it to field.
It doesn't matter. Like if I paint over the back of one of your cards, like
that's marking cards.
Yeah, but like it's sleeved up, you know.
I guess so. I would.
I'm actually pretty sure you could sign the back of a card, but you can't sign the front of it.
Really?
Pretty sure.
Why is that? Do you know?
Well, because you can't see the mark. It's not like you could feel marker. I don't know. It's weird because you can have markings on the front of your sleeves but not on the backs, which like I guess I get because obviously you see the back of your sleeves, but being able to mark the front of your sleeves feels
the moment
wrong.
You're marking, it feels like you're doing something weird, even if it's like technically something that you're not supposed to see.
Yeah,
because I would immediately question if somebody's like, oh, well, the marking's not on the front. I'm like, so what? Are you feeling the bottom of your deck while you're shuffling? Are you?
Well, Nolan told me once that he faced somebody who would touch either their own or their opponent's security
and tell whether they had alts.
Yeah, because of foils.
Yeah. I agree with that. I thought you had mentioned to me that you could feel the difference between foils and non-foils between.
That was back in BT6. Gabumon alt art just felt heavier than regular art.
I believe it. I actually, when I'm dealing out cards, I'll deal out my own 5. And then I'll touch each of them, and I'll be like, "Can I guess what's in my hand before I pick it up?"
But what I was saying was, I could feel the weight difference in my hand.
Yeah.
Not like I could feel the back of cards flat on the table and no.
That is a bit of an issue. I mean, didn't they have that issue for a little bit where people were weighing packs in Digimon?
Yeah, they fixed that with BT6 though.
Yeah, what did they do to fix it?
They literally just made the rares fully foiled.
Okay.
And that was the fix.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's better for all of us.
Yeah. I actually went around back in BT5 and weighed out some some BT5 packs.
Oh, just to see how it would turn
yeah.
out. Oh, okay. I mean, I watched a video recently of a Magic card raider just going through cards, telling whether they were fake or not. And one of the things that he said is he picked up one of the fake cards and he's like, this feels light. And it's because it was like 1% lighter than a genuine article card. So it's like, yeah, I mean, one, it makes sense. Like if you're really, really that much expertise that you could feel it. I'm a little surprised. I don't think I would be able to do it today. But two, it kind of makes it seem hard for there ever to be good enough counterfeits of cards. If the reality is that like they're so standardized, like it's not worth it to like go through checks and balances to make sure your counterfeits come out right.
Yeah, I see people post online and say, "Is this a counterfeit card? I bought these Digimon cards for cheap." I'm like, there's no market for counterfeit Digimon cards. Let's be honest here.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Speaking of counterfeit cards and markets,
okay.
I've been thinking real hard if I want to keep this Omnimon.
Oh, you want to sell your serialized?
Yeah.
That's a big question. I mean,
I'm always a big...
Listen, you just told me that you think of cards as being playthings, not objects of value to be sold. So are you immediately going contrary to that?
Well, no. And the thing is like, I always keep... To me, it's a trophy.
Yeah.
Like, this is representing what I accomplished. But... I also just told you that I was thinking about getting a second job. And so sometimes you got to make some decisions. And it feels really bad. So I don't know what I want.
I get it. I regret not selling my winter Beelzemon. I think that we can all have a little bit of hypocrisy when it comes down to the trophy is only worth so much to you. How much do you think you'd get for it, Canadian?
I don't know. I'd like to get 1,000.
Yeah.
I don't keep an eye on the market.
Okay. I mean, money's money. I won't call you out too much for it, but that's sad. That's sad that like you feel the pull though. Like I don't want to be in a situation where Bandai is putting us like gun to our head, sell cards. That's why.
But it's not even like Bandai couldn't fix this. This is an alt art serialized card. Like
no,
this is a tournament prize.
Listen, you're right. Bandai couldn't fix it. Bandai couldn't fix it without eating to their bottom line. What I would like is for Bandai to have prize money instead of prize cards. But obviously, a card that is worth tomorrow 10 grand is cheaper for Bandai than giving you $10,000.
That's true.
So
there's also like other like gambling laws in Japan.
Yeah,
like that's
Japan's really funny with it. Fighting games have that where you more or less can't have any prize money, and there's a lot of conversation about whether it makes them better or not at fighting games because like they're fighting only for pride. But on the other hand, you have to have a full-time job to be a professional player, and that's like a really awkward dynamic.
Also, Battle Spirits had prize money, so I don't fully understand.
I don't know either. I think that it might be inconsistent.
It's obviously better for Bandai to give out cards, but also to me, again, it's like a pride thing. It's not about the money when I win cards. It's about getting a trophy. But they are also worth money, which makes it kind of nice.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you can eat into your own ideology.
It almost feels like I wish they were worthless because then I would
You'd have no problem keeping them. Yeah.
And for the most part, I have no problem. It's just right now, I'm in a different situation.
Trying to buy a house.
Yeah.
You're trying to buy a house in Canada, which is like one of the most disgusting things to say in anybody's life.
Yeah, I hope nobody ever has to go through that. Through this awful situation of trying to buy a place to live.
Well, most of the people who probably listen to us are American. I'm assuming. I actually don't know if that's true.
It's like 34%.
34% are American?
Yeah.
All right. Well, the 34% of you don't understand how bad the Canadian housing market is because it's so much worse than the U.S.
Yeah, I see all these videos about how bad the U.S. is.
No, the U.S. is fucking living it up. They're
know.
living in paradise.
Because I look at the houses that they're paying for, and I'm like, even after conversion, so much better than here. I'll show you a shed on the side of the street. It's not even rooted in the ground. Like it's just a shed on the side of the street in the U.S. Probably going for $500,000 a year.
I mean, what you have to just get down to brass tacks about is that Ontario has so many people. Toronto is such a big city. Even Hamilton's such a big city. that pushes up rates a lot. And like we are a very big country, so living close by to anything useful is a high premium.
It's crazy though, because before COVID happened, I was looking at houses out in Nova Scotia, and I'm talking like 10-bedroom mansion, 350,000 on it, like your own 30-acre property on the water. But it's out in the country, obviously. Like you're not close to work, but still, like that's some crazy pricing. But even in those areas now, it's double.
Yeah,
it's double what it used to be. It's just kind of across the board. We've like doubled the price.
Yeah, I mean, this is a complicated topic. I've like gone through it with people. I mean, it's related to a lot of things. Canada is uniquely affected by foreign investment, which is like one of the largest things. But it's hopefully going to get better, but that's not going to happen without a lot of people losing a lot of money on the crash that we're anticipating.
I wanted to say something satirically, but then I realized it probably won't land.
We'll give you a pass and hit us with it.
No.
Come on.
No, because it gets too political for what Canada
All right,
is.
I promise I'll cut it out. Say it. What's wrong, buddy?
It's because of the immigrants.
Oh God. This week I actually did have somebody come onto a train and like shout like, you know, fuck immigrants, and I was like, all of us like looked around like super awkward, like, okay, this is actually gonna get cut because I'm saying it's gonna cut because I say it.
No, keep it in now. Cut. I want it to stay in.
Let's say you believe something so toxic. You're racist. You're sexist. You're a Yu-Gi-Oh player. At the end of the day, don't tell anybody. Shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah, like, hide your power levels.
Well, I get so confused. I'm like, that guy walked onto the train and he shouted that, and then now nobody wanted to sit next to him, and he was so fucking awkward. He had to sit in the corner, and everyone was like, get the fuck away from us.
The craziest thing is to walk onto a train and shout that as the door is shut, because like now you're stuck in there.
Dude, he's stuck in there with us.
Yeah. If you told me like he said it and then jumped out of the train.
Oh yeah, if that was his stop, there you go.
Yeah. But you'd be like, all right, now I'm going to sit here for the next 30 minutes where anybody could walk up to me and just do whatever they want.
Yeah, I think it's people are very proudly dumb.
Oh yeah.
Because like obviously you shouldn't be racist, you shouldn't be sexist, you shouldn't be a Yu-Gi-Oh player
unless you're white.
But if you are going to do one of those three things, the only three bad things, then shut up.
Yeah.
Just shut up.
Secret.
What are you doing?
No, twice a day on my way to and from work, I see a flag waving proudly in the sunlight.
Let's go, Brandon.
It says, he will be back 2024. Trump.
Is that Trump? Okay. I thought it was about Jesus.
I'm like, dude, you live in Canada, in like Stony Creek.
Yeah, there's a lot of Canadians because our news cycle is so infected by the US. There are so many Canadians who talk about Trump like he is our prime minister.
It's so crazy to me because it's like, even if you want to be up to date on what's going on in the States, you can't vote. You actually cannot do a thing about it.
Yep.
Like, if you want to do something about our current prime minister, you have that power. You have that right. But you actually have no control over what's going on in another country. Why are you waving this flag in front of other people's faces?
Yeah, I don't fully get it, but I see it happening. I mean, I see it happening with my dad, where my dad has gained more
he's a
and
big
more
Trump head, eh?
He's not a big Trump head, but he's definitely like getting exposed to the US like conservative media cycle.
It's the freaking internet. You got to take the iPads away from your dad.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, you kind of had to. We were just talking about how kids are being exposed to a lot, and I was exposed to a lot, and like I'm not even going to make a moral judgment about that, but I'm a lot more worried about my dad being exposed to a lot. It's like my older people without media literacy in the same way that young people have it.
Without media literacy and disposable income.
Yeah, they definitely like, listen, you can make a lot of dumb choices when you have $0 in your bank account and be like, well, there's only so much consequence.
Yep. When you have millions of dollars in your bank account,
when you're stacked up,
you could just do illegal things and pay people off. That's like 90% of the US. Well, sorry. That's the 1%.
That's the 1%.
That's the 1%.
That's the 1% committing 90%.
Exactly.
All right, so I had teased something. I think they're champing at the bits to hear about
Teaser
it.
trailer.
I've had a very
Speaking of
interesting
media literacy,
Speaking of media literacy, I have gone on a journey. So you know that I've been playing all the Castlevania games. Me and Julian decided to play Castlevania Judgment together, which is the 2007 Wii fighting game with the Castlevania branding.
hold up. I didn't know this.
You didn't know this?
I didn't know it was a Wii fighting game.
Yes, it uses the Wiimote and nunchuck.
I didn't know that.
Okay, thankfully there are GameCube controls.
Okay.
But the intended way to play is a Wiimote and nunchuck, and it's so bad.
Did you try it?
I tried it with the actual motion controls, and it feels so awful.
How did you try it?
You can connect Wiimotes to your PC because it's Dolphins. It's a very good emulator. Let's just be open about it. But I tried it. I didn't like it, so we just said let's just switch back, and we immediately switched back to GameCube controller.
You filthy heathen.
But you wanted me to stay on it?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, if you're going through all the Castlevania games, you have to play them the way they were meant to be played.
They released GameCube controls for it. I'm going to.
That's because all Wii games had GameCube controls. But if you were playing Twilight Princess without the Wii remote, you're a bad person.
You know, it's funny. I'm pretty sure later models of the Wii removed all the GameCube ports. And to me, a Wii without GameCube ports is like a wasted console.
It's just garbage, yeah.
It's so bad. I don't know why they would produce that.
Why did... I remember at a certain point, Nintendo was like, you know what? Your Wii remotes aren't good enough. Add
Motion Plus.
Add this expansion pack to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
What was that about?
So
I was too young.
No, that was for Skyward Sword. They wanted to introduce additional motion controls, and they had Miyamoto on stage showcasing it. And he did like the sword swish motion of like putting the sword in his back, except it didn't match that animation at all. And I was like, wait, so is it even going to work?
But like, so it was supposed to add new motions or?
So yeah. So the whole point was having the Wiimote itself was actually extremely primitive technology. There was no gyro in it. It was just, there is a sensor in front of you, the sensor bar, and it will detect when you're moving up or down relative to that sensor bar. But if the Wiimote is facing away from the sensor bar, the TV actually has no fucking idea what motions you're doing. It's not tracking it. So they added the add-on was a gyro. Okay. Essentially just be like, hey, now we can tell the tilt of the controller as it moves, regardless of whether it's facing the sensor. The sensor is actually very, very simple. You can replace the sensor with two lighters because all it is it's just two lights, and it's using those two lights to gauge distance. Do you understand?
To gauge distance, or is it just a 3D?
To gauge angle. You're right. It's not really about distance. Yeah. But
it's just meeting up with the sensor bar.
Yeah. Exactly. So very, very primitive technology. Anyways, that's what we've been doing. We played it once. We hated it. We said we're never going to play it again. We played it a second time. We said we love it. And since then have put probably 30 hours into the game. We've been cooking with it. We've been playing. We learned a bunch of tech. We invented some tech that we couldn't find anywhere on the internet. There's one guy 15 years ago who made a Castlevania Judgment combo video, and he executed tech that we said, this is impossible. Nobody could do this. And we tried for hours and hours to replicate it. We tried to find glitches that could allow us to do it. We couldn't. And I said, fuck it. He's linking to a website on this YouTube video. Let's go to that website. It had been sold. It had been sold to like a casino gambling website. So I said, that's no good. So I followed everyone who followed him on his YouTube channel, and I ran through their threads of like who they followed and why to try and pinpoint who this guy is. He's a KOF player. He's a King of Fighters player.
This is already insane. This is the beginning, and it's already insane. I don't understand how you have this much time.
So, no, me and Julian were in a call. It took us all day, and we were like, okay, so we know who his friends are now, but we don't know anything other than YouTube. How do we exit the YouTube space? So we started cross-referencing, looking up all of their names in the Wayback Machine to try and be like, can we find them on the internet 15 years ago in case it's a website that's been taken down? On a forum, we found, on a forum that had been shut down in like 2010, we found a guy, I See Something, who mentioned Pile of Secrets. Pile of Secrets was a website that's still up today, which is a Castlevania fan community. So we went to that fan community And it turned out the same name of the guy who made the combo video 15 years ago was listed as one of the moderators of Pile of Secrets. From Pile of Secrets, we got his real first and last name.
That's insane.
So,
at what point did you get his social insurance number?
so we took from Pile of Secrets, we got his Twitter, we got his Instagram. He's still around. He's still playing games. We got all the info we could on this guy. We followed he's on 3 other websites where he's actually kind of a cool fucking dude. Like he was one of the early Castlevania speedrunners. So he's on Speed Demo Archive, which is a speedrunning website that's been dead for forever, ever since speedrun.com took over. He hosted videos for people who didn't have video recording software for all of these speedruns. He put time into Castlevania Judgment that he had the best combo video we had seen for it. So I DM'd him. I sent him, actually, no, that's not true. I DM'd him. He didn't reply. So I add him publicly on Twitter. I said, answer my question.
From the Errata Sonata Twitter account.
I said, answer my question. I gotta know about Castlevania Judgment Tech. And he got back to me and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I did that 15 years ago. I have a daughter now. Leave me alone.
Did he actually say that?
No, but we were just talking about it. He was making speedrunning content in 2003. So he's probably over 40.
But he did confirm that he wasn't using Taz or anything.
No, so he did make Taz videos, but he said no. That in that video he specifies this is all done freehand. This is not Taz. We talked with him back and forth for a while. He was a nice enough guy. I definitely didn't tell him how much we knew about him. But eventually, I'm so sad. Eventually, we found out what the issue was, and I know it won't mean that much to you, but what it is
Ian,
is the game.
Hold up. None of this means anything to me.
Yeah.
Nothing you ever say means anything at all to me. I hate you as a person. Continue.
Well, what I was going to express frustration is unlike every modern fighting game and even most old fighting games, there exists control adjustments, which is good. That's modern fighting games. But unlike every fighting game I've ever played in my life, if you adjust the controls in between one of 3 modes of execution, it changes the mechanics of the game because certain actions are executed by pressing 2 buttons down together. So for us, it was impossible to hit those buttons independently. Let's say if it's A, B, and then A and B held together executes action C. So certain things would be hold down A or B and then release them to do a powered up version of it. There was no way to do both of those at the same time for us. But if you just went into the controls and modified it, you can just change the rules of the game.
That's not changing the rules of the game. That's just changing how accessible these combos are.
It's changing
the same thing with fight pads and GameCube controllers.
Yeah, but okay, so if you play any modern fighting game, how it goes usually is any action that is executed by hitting 2 buttons together, even if you move where those 2 buttons are located, that action will still be executed by hitting those 2 buttons together. So I can remap things around my controller.
Oh wait, that's not what's happening in this?
No. So no, what I'm saying is if you do the remap, it's now unbound those buttons from each other. So I said, okay, my layout is in a row, A, B, let's say ABC is my lineup of buttons in a row. And if I hit A and B together, I get action D, which is impossible to have a button for. But if I move B to a new spot, and I swap B and C's location, now A and C will execute action D.
Oh.
The location of those buttons matters more than what 2 buttons I'm hitting together.
That's weird. That is definitely weird. But you still have access to action D.
I still have access to it, but I'm executing it under a new rule set, and it allows a lot of new tech to be possible.
That's so weird.
It's very abnormal. I've experienced maybe 1 game in my life that's done it.
So at first, I thought you were saying when you rebind it, you just can't do it anymore. It unbinds action D, and you no longer have access to it.
There are games that do that, but that's
but you can never rebind it, which is just crazy to me.
Yeah.
But this makes more sense, although still less sense than just moving the button.
Yeah,
and then still having the same combination.
You would think that if I moved action B to my pinky, I would just be I'd still just hit A and B even in their new locations, and that would give me D instead of being able to hit A and C and get D.
That does probably open up some crazy new mechanics.
It really does. It's like kind of like really changed the game for us. And like,
What would Smash be like?
if we had that capability? Well, so that is defined as is it's one of 2 or 3 possible definitions within the fighting game space of what a macro is. A macro can be there's time macros where you hit a button and it will execute a series of inputs over the next few frames. That's like extremely not allowed. Or a macro being one button has 2 different outcomes based on external factors. So hitting 2 buttons together gives me a new button that is not bound. That's also not allowed in fighting games unless it's allowed explicitly by the in-game system. So for Smash, there are no macros of any kind. So currently, there are no actions that you can only execute by hitting 2 buttons together simultaneously. With one very minor exception, which for the sake of it, I will mention, Zaring technically is L plus A. So that is the only thing that's like really bound together, and it wouldn't create any new techniques to separate those actions.
You can also just hit Z.
Exactly. And like that's the reason why L plus A works is because it is Z is depending on the game you're playing, Z could be an independent button or it could be a macro for L plus A. That's the direction that's usually more useful, by the way. Hitting one button to hit multiple buttons on my controller instead of hitting multiple buttons on my controller to execute a new action.
That was me playing WoW.
Oh yeah? Yeah, because you're allowed macros in that game? Or I guess they can't stop you.
Yeah. First of all, yeah, 100% you can make macros, but they put restrictions on it. So like, but even then you got global cooldowns, so you can't be hitting multiple buttons at once anyway.
Yeah.
Unless they're off the global cooldown. So then some classes, I didn't play any of these, but some classes you'd hit one button and they'd just activate like 10 abilities all instantly, which is just boring.
Yeah.
But none of them are damaging, right? They're all just buffs that you just like buff up.
So yeah, in fighting games, that would be very explicitly not allowed.
Yeah, but so like, let's say my standard rotation, I've got bound to like 1, 2, and 3, and 4, let's say. But now I've got other abilities that I don't use quite as often, but still like in my rotation. So now I'm like, okay, shift 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm like, okay, now these other abilities, maybe I use them for PvP. So I'm not going to use them in a raid, but I still want them bound. And the thing is you can't just like swap your bindings beforehand, because you need to have that muscle memory in place, right? Like if you just picked up a Wii remote,
I started wiggling it around in Castlevania.
Like wouldn't you have a harder time than just using a GameCube controller or a
I'm used to what I've been exposed to.
So then you have to kind of like, I do control 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like you go up past 4 and you find other bindings. Like you find whatever you can use, because like MMOs have a lot more buttons than fighting
so
games.
many more.
Yeah, so you just try and find like the best position, and it's so hard because eventually like you might start out and have a position that you find that you like, and eventually you realize like this is bad, but I have to readapt completely and rethink.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you grew up playing like Brawl or PM with a Wii remote, and then you're like, I should probably switch to a GameCube controller or a fight pad. 2
of the Ontario PR players were originally WeChuck players.
Is Zukon still on there?
Yeah, Zukon is still relevant. I don't know if he's ranked right now, but he's definitely still top 10 if he plays.
I faced him in a cross-country meet once.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I knew him because I had seen him at Mixed Match.
No, Smash. Yeah. No, yeah, Ben's a cool guy. I keep in touch with him. But yeah, no, fighting games are weird. I will say that like rebinding and like having to relearn controls is a big issue. Before I became a box player, I was a Z jumper in Smash because Project M allows for button remapping, but Melee doesn't. So I was like, okay, I'd rather quit Melee rather than have to keep using what is honestly like an atrociously bad control scheme.
I like that this is a lot more palatable than you were cyber stalking somebody.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we didn't hurt anybody. We researched
just some
the guy.
Light stalking.
No, we researched a guy to get his information. I did also maybe make it sound a little bit better. We found his Twitter and Instagram way earlier in that story and then kept researching.
I thought you were going to be like, we found his Twitter and Instagram and messaged his daughter.
No, I just like, because once we found it, we were like, we messaged him on Twitter and then he didn't give us a satisfactory answer. And we're like, let's see if the version of him in the past has the answer. Because that's 15 years ago. He just doesn't remember. So if we can find him on one of these old King of Fighters forums,
And you message him in the past.
yeah, exactly.
Through the Wayback Machine.
The Wayback Machine, yeah.
This is like, what's that movie? The Lake House.
I've actually not seen the Lake House.
Neither have I.
Okay.
But the other day my family was watching it, and I was like, what is this? And they gave me a quick explanation. I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. And then I was rewatching Solar Opposites recently.
Okay.
And they have a whole episode called like the Lake House episode. And I'm like, oh, I get this media reference now, even though I haven't seen the movie. But
so give me the shorthand. What is the Lake House?
okay, the Lake House, and this is from somebody who knows next to
No,
nothing.
that's why I'm invested in it. Yeah.
The Lake House is okay.
By the way, just so everyone knows, we knew at the start of this, we should have informed you. We're just hanging out. Me and Noah don't see each other as much anymore, so we're not committing to any promises about what we're talking about today.
We brought up Digimon. We've allocated 2 minutes of Digimon, and
I
we
think
hit that
you all
checklist.
should be grateful to the time that you got.
Okay, Keanu Reeves lives in a lake house, or he's constructing a lake house or something.
Sure.
And there's a mailbox there.
Yeah.
And this is going to be so bad. I have not seen this movie. And somehow, either he receives a letter or he sends a letter to somebody 2 to 5 years in the future.
Okay.
It's not a range. It's just either those are the two numbers that I think they might be.
Okay.
And he sends a letter to them, and they respond. And he gets that letter in the past. And the whole thing is he's in this loving relationship with a girl from the future.
Yeah.
Who he can talk to through notes at the lake house.
Yeah. But right now, she's underage. So he has to wait until she grows up 5 years for it to be okay. I get it. I follow the movie.
She is with someone else, and he like runs.
It's like the current version of her.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And he sees her out in like the wild.
Yeah.
And he's like,
How does he recognize her?
He doesn't know it's her.
Okay.
But he just feels this longing in his heart.
Okay.
Then eventually, this is spoilers. Eventually, she's like, "This is it. Will you wait for me?" And he was like, "Yes." And she's like, "I couldn't ask you to do that." This is Sandra Bullock, by the way, and Keanu Reeves. And Keanu Reeves is like, "I will wait for you." And then she waits at a restaurant. Like he goes and makes a reservation at a restaurant, and then she shows up 2 years later. She's like, "For Keanu Reeves, please." And they're like, "Oh wow, come to this table. We've been waiting for you." And she sits there all night, and he doesn't show up. And it's like. She's like, "You stood me up, you hoe." And he's like, "I never would have done that. I don't understand." And the audience is like, "He did." But then it goes on to be this whole thing where the reason she went to the lake house in the first place was because she had a man die in her arms.
Okay.
And this man was there because he was trying to find Sandra Bullock because in the future because of the lake house writings, but it's him that dies in her arms. Okay. It's very cyclical. It's Ouroboros. It's the snake eating his tail.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah. So because of the lake house, it caused him to die, but she goes to the lake house because he died, and then that's what causes him to die.
I have a great affection for any piece of media that deals with time travel.
I love time travel, but like it has to do it right.
Yeah, I was gonna say because this sounds
it's bad.
Real stinky.
This
does not sound like a good movie. I'll be earnest that like I go out of my way to watch stuff that has time travel elements. I'll probably watch this movie just for the sake that it has time travel.
I love Eric's been trying to get me to watch Steins Gate.
I have thoughts about Steins Gate. I mean, Steins Gate is extremely accessible, and that's probably the best thing you say about it.
I used to read so much time travel Naruto fan fiction.
Oh yeah,
when I was in high school.
I would go the Majora's Mask fanfic community. I fucking blasted those.
I just love time travel as a concept, but then you get like bad time travel and it just makes me mad.
Well, I think the thing is that like people want time travel to just be, I think, plot contrivance, but like actually exploring the ideas that come around from time travel it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
I love logic in my TV shows and movies.
I gotta swing for the fences with a piece of media that is one, controversial, and two, honestly, I have my own list of issues with it, regardless of being controversial. Homestuck does a lot of good things with time travel.
Is this an anime or a real show?
Do you not know what Homestuck is?
No.
Homestuck is a internet webcomic by this guy, Andrew Hussey, who he made a webcomic that on forums where people would write in their responses of like what should happen on the next page. So he used people's responses on the forum to write the next page of the comic. And it is a huge, huge piece of media that ended up, as it got longer and longer and bigger, it included Flash animation. It included games as like official parts of the story. It has like text logs that are like a lot of back and forth messaging. It's just like a really cool, very popular webcomic. It's controversial because it's known in fandom spaces for having like one of the most toxic communities that exists.
Is this the one that had Lost in it?
No, that's Control Alt Delete.
Okay.
No. This is you've probably seen the characters. The ones that people recognize the most are like gray skinned, like candy corn horns. They're like these troll characters. No, don't worry about it. It's okay. You may not have been exposed to Homestuck. It's something that was a relevant part of my life for a period of it. All that matters for this conversation is it does a lot of cool things with time travel. And like I think it really opened my eyes to the idea that like time travel was a really cool story device if it's used properly.
I like there's a movie called The Looper.
Yeah.
I didn't watch all of it, but I like the premise of it. I actually named one of the episodes after it.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was gonna write featuring oh my goodness.
Bruce Willis?
Thank you. Featuring Bruce Willis in it.
Yeah.
But then I didn't because I was worried about copyright things.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that isn't Bruce Willis like demented now?
I think he's doing better, but he's also still not in a good spot.
He's old. It happens.
Yeah, it's like
he's probably watching a lot of Fox News.
It's not Parkinson's, but it's something like very bad. Like it's like an illness,
degenerative disease.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
It's sad. It is sad. I honestly like. I don't know if you watch The Boys.
Yeah,
but I'm a big fan of it, and I've been catching up with the new season. And Will Ferrell showed up, and I'm like, yes, Will Ferrell. I love Will Ferrell.
I also love Will Ferrell, and I've seen the scene you're talking about, and I like it a lot.
And I thought I was like, no shot. And then he's Will Ferrell in the thing, and I'm like, this is definitely a movie. As it was going, and then it was like a little movie clip. I think about the fact that Will Ferrell is going to die one day, and it makes me so sad. I think that might be like what? Pardon?
That guy in particular is just like that.
That might be one of the biggest like hits to me, celebrity wise.
So, like, what are your big Will Ferrell hits that you like go to?
I don't think I have any.
Okay,
I just really like him.
You just like him. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna gas you for it.
I saw a clip of. It's just because whenever he shows up in something, I think he's really funny.
I also think he's very funny.
Don't get me wrong. When he's in The Office, it's not great, but it's still funny. It's just not great for The Office. But Will Ferrell, I think, is just like...
I think he's a very good comedian, and every time I see him, you're right, I'm happy. I think that I have a lot of fun with Will Ferrell every time.
And he's so old now. It's so sad.
He's very old. I was going to say, like, he is not a young buck. But that's everyone. I mean, like, at the end of the day, if we were exposed to it when we were young, they're old now. Because we're old now.
I know. What I need to do is... I hate consuming old media. But what I need to do is go back and watch a bunch of like old
and read
Will Ferrell
Homestuck,
stuff.
yeah,
and read Homestuck,
and play Castlevania
and
Judgment,
see Lost,
and see Lost. Yeah, it's so funny that like was Lost a? When were you using the internet? I guess is my question, because like Lost is almost like even before my time.
I've never read the comic or like I think I was introduced to Lost. Time is weird because of COVID, but I was probably 18.
That makes sense.
When I like looked up what is Lost.
I mean, now I'm gonna look up when did Lost.
But I was using the internet way before that. It's just like I wasn't exposed to a lot of this early internet meme culture.
2008. I mean, like it's actually not really before my time. That's such a fucking wild thing. Do you actually like know like the context of Lost?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, no, because I went on Know Your Meme and read the whole thing.
Yeah. It's just like, it's so out of left field for that fucking webcomic.
Because you'd see like things like, if you know, you know. And it'd be like one stick and then a stick.
That stick and lie down.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, what is this? I got to look it up. Because all the comments would just be like, lost. Yeah. It's kind of like Boku no Pico.
Yeah.
I still don't know what that's about, but I just know it's supposed to be like horrendous.
It's like an adult child
Relationship?
Yeah, boys love anime. And so it's like,
Is it an anime or is it like just straight up hentai?
It's an anime, I think. I actually don't know 100%, but like it's mostly known for like the age gap. I actually don't even know, as I'm saying this, whether it's actually an age gap or if he's like 1,000-year-old vampire.
Don't take this the wrong way. It's not that I don't think that that's bad, but like the way people talk about it makes you think that it's like vor or something.
No, there's actually so many more things.
What is vor?
It's when you eat someone.
Okay. That's not what I meant, but that's basically like what I meant. It's like that level of stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to use the word gore, but then I'm like, you know what? I know this other word.
I'll toss it.
I'll throw it in there.
No, there's
Ew, it's when you eat.
Yeah, it's weird. We've talked about this off the pod, but we could talk about my one weird friend if you want.
No, I don't want to. I don't.
Okay.
I have like when like, I don't know if this was you in elementary school, but like someone would get their hands on like a video of someone being beheaded.
Yes.
I would never ever look at those.
You never watch it?
No, I was too scared.
I did, and I don't know if it was the right decision, but I did watch it.
I couldn't bring myself to see it. Like I couldn't. Even now, like stuff will pop up, and I'll be like, sometimes you look something up, and something wild comes up, you know?
Yeah.
And so it'd be like, man being beheaded by a motorcycle chain, and it's like blurred out, so you don't just get like jump scared. And I'm like, yeah, I can't touch this. Like I can't click on this and see what it is. Like I'm curious, but I just know for my own wellness, I can't look at this.
I would never look that kind of stuff up, but there were definitely like kids in my elementary school who were like, I'm going to bring it to school on my phone and show people.
Yeah.
I feel like even like that era was already like, it was abnormal for a kid to have a phone at school. So like the kid who came with videos on his phone, we were like, we got to see it.
When I was in grade 10, it was like a thing where people would try and shove 2 girls, 1 cup in front of your face.
Oh, okay.
And get you to watch it. And so like people would come up to me and hold up their phone and I'd just close my eyes. I'm like, I can't deal with this right now. Like I don't know what's on your phone, but just don't show me anything.
Yeah, I keep forgetting how squeamish you are. It like,
oh yeah, I'm bad.
It doesn't suit the rest of what I know about you, to be honest. I think of squeamishness as being like a very
baby thing.
Well, like yeah, just like it's a very like sensitive thing. And so I'm like, if somebody like squeamish, I'm usually like, they're the type of person that I like can't hang with very much. Because I assume that they're like sensitive about everything.
Yeah, no, I just get grossed out easy. And I'm less likely to get grossed out if it's like, I'm more likely to be grossed out or like squeamish thinking about something that's going to happen to me than it actually happening to me. Like I ran over my knee with an ATV, like I flipped it and the tire ripped open my knee.
On the way here?
Yeah, on the way here. I'm bleeding all over here.
Yeah.
And I got like, I don't know how many stitches. And then like I've lost feeling in this toe. On this big toe, because I jumped out of a treehouse and sliced it open on a tree branch and just lost so much blood, and it was a deep cut. But it's like I was vibing, I was chilling, but like if you told that to me that was going to happen to me beforehand, I'd be so like I'd be shaking.
Yeah,
I just can't think about things happening.
But once it's happened, you can deal with it.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I guess that's fair. I've only been seriously harmed like a couple times in my life, like I told you, like I got that broken bottle through my hand.
Yep.
And that obviously was rough to deal with, but most of the time, if I think about it, it's not like I feel like bad about it. If I saw somebody else going through that same experience, I wouldn't have to look away or anything. It's just more the experience that was shitty about it than it is thinking about it.
Yeah, the worst part with this is like the loss of feeling.
Loss?
Yeah, the loss. It sucks, like knowing like, oh, you just like aren't at 100% anymore and you're not getting that back. Somebody at work sliced their calf open on a thing of sheet metal and like deep. Like they had to get like 14 stitches and they were bleeding out like crazy. And so from their calf down to their toes, they lost feeling. And they said, I think he said that nerves grow like a millimeter a day or something.
That's actually pretty fast.
It is really fast. But so he's starting to get feeling back in his foot, but he's like, they basically have to wait a certain amount of time and see if you're going to get all your feeling back. And then you might just not.
It might stunt at a certain point.
Yeah.
It might just be like, oh, we're done.
Yep.
That's rough.
Yeah. So that's a bummer. I've heard you can rub like different materials over your body to kind of like train it
What did this not safe for work massage parlor you're going to?
It's like sandpaper and stuff.
Let's sandpaper your body.
It's kind of like, have you heard about people rubbing like stuff on their face to improve hair growth? Like,
Not really,
like
to be
coarse or like gritty stuff.
I've heard about like increasing your circulation. Like people get massages to like increase blood flow.
Yeah, I've heard of that too. But I've heard like of like growth serums like for beards that are basically just like rubbing coarse stuff to kind of like
This
encourage hair growth.
sounds like pseudoscience. I'll be honest.
I agree. But to be fair, all science sounds like pseudoscience to me.
All science is pseudoscience if you don't know science.
Exactly. Even if you do know science, let's be honest here.
There are like a lot of things that I hear where I'm like, that's so unintuitive that if it's true, I just like, I don't know if I believe it.
As I was driving here today, I was trying to wrap my head around the fact that like quantum mechanics or quantum physics operate differently when observed than when not observed.
It feels so wrong.
I'm like, this, how could they can't know this. It doesn't make sense to me. This is what I mean. This is exactly what I meant when I said all science sounds like pseudoscience to me.
It's like, trust us, it works. Just look away.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, what it is to me, it's like, I have to believe what you're saying right now.
Well, I've just come to accept that there are a lot of things in life, I mean, in our daily life, that I just like, I know as much as I need to know to get by. I don't really understand how computers work. Like, no, I mean, come on, do you?
No. Yes.
You know a lot more than
do.
Yeah, you know a lot more than me. But I just like conceptualizing. I can read Wikipedia articles and I can watch videos about all of the processes going on in my computer. But at the end of the day, when I go, how do I take a physical object like the CPU and make it output video and have that interactable, I don't know if I fully get how that occurs.
I think going to school and doing like all the electrical engineering parts of my course helped a lot. But I still have stuff that's like photographs to me will never not be magic.
Really?
Yeah. Like cameras are crazy to me.
It's funny. That's actually one that like I completely understand.
Computers make so much more sense to me than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Because like, are you saying like all cameras or just like modern digital cameras? Because like old cameras are essentially just exposed light on an object. Like it might as well be
honestly both.
It might as well be a painting. Old pictures.
Yeah.
But that's hard. That's hard to you, eh? Oh wow.
It's so crazy to me. Okay. I don't like, honestly, as soon as you start getting into light stuff,
light is a little bit wacky. I'll get you there.
But yeah, I feel like a lot of times electricity is just like so easy because it's very binary, you know?
Yes.
And same thing with computers, whereas some other science stuff is just like
it's very wibbly wobbly, sort of like.
There's so many variables that go into like mechanical engineering that are just like, I can't deal with it. I know what the constant like of gravity is, but I don't ever want to have to use it.
Yeah. I mean, I am impressed when somebody has knowledge and training in a lot of different disciplines to like actually be able to parse everything, or maybe not everything, but like parse everything they engage with on a daily basis.
I have a supervisor like that, and it's always impressive.
It's a cool thing to be able to do. One of my buddies I worked with, he is like that, and it's a really cool time just being able to be like, hey, could you help me understand this thing about plumbing a little bit better? Could you help me understand this thing about electricity a bit better? He has it at the ready all the time.
I think that a lot is achievable by an individual because of the vast information we have accessible to us on the internet.
Yes.
But I think what separates, so like when I do something, I don't think it's that impressive because I'm just looking up how to do it and then acting on it.
Yes.
What I think brings it over the line into impressive is when I no longer have to look it up and you just know things, you know?
Yeah.
And I think to me, that's the line. Even though it feels weird to be like, memorization is what separates you from like good and great. That's what it is to me, is when I no longer have to check up on stuff.
When it becomes a lot more intuitive, I 100% agree with you. Because like plumbing's a good example where like I'm talking with a buddy about like, oh, like a water main in the building burst. And we're just like, all right, how do we deal with this? Where are the different shutoffs? Who are we going to contact? just like what is it actually affecting and what is it not affecting and what are any dangers that we have to deal with. And like those are immediate things where I'm like, this is like quote unquote basic knowledge. But if you just know it without having to check, I'm like, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You have a handle on this. I want to get to that point. I actually feel like I've been saying to Julia that I want to make my role a lot more clearly be that guy who knows things.
At work or at home?
Both. I mean, at home, I more or less, I'm only being compared to Julia, and Julia doesn't know anything. So within the context of like repairing a home, I'm not saying it's a broad statement about her.
That's fair. Shout out to Sean. He owns a house downtown.
Sure.
And he doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
And he asked me to shout him out. I don't think he's expecting me to shout him out and then say this about him.
Well, I'll shout out Julian because he says to me that he was not handy at all, and once he got a home and just had to start fixing up, he's like, "You just figure it out."
Yeah,
he now, to me, is one of those guys where he knows a lot more than I expect.
It's so easy to just look something up and then like.
But if you don't have a cause to look it up, I think that you can look it up and it just goes in one ear and out the other.
That's fair, but I guess it really depends on your interest. Like I spend a lot of time just looking up how to do stuff that I will never have to do, but just because I'm interested in like.
Do you think you retain a lot of it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well that's good. Probably if I was a little bit less of a gamer, that would be the case.
That's fair. All right, I want to wrap this one up.
Oh, okay.
But I want to say one thing.
Okay.
Before we wrap up. What is with Edamon?
What is with him?
What is with EX5 Edamon?
Oh, you're saying the card effect. I thought you were saying like why he have such defined cheeks.
No. Why does he give -3 and make you attack?
Because
and let you go into Valkyrie for free.
I think it's good. I mean, I think it's a cool effect. I tend to actually really enjoy it. I did not think it would become as prevalent as it seems like it has very quickly.
The problem is it is a cool effect, but Aces existed before Edamon was released.
Yeah, but also when Force when attacking existed before Aces existed.
Well, yeah, but you didn't get to choose. They got to choose.
Yeah,
who attacked.
I guess that is a difference.
And also, you didn't give them -3k. And also, you didn't go into a mega for free, give them another -5, and then delete something that's 8k or lower. It's a free kill on all megas.
Yeah.
Like, 15k megas, if you go Edamon into Volk, it's dying.
It does 15?
Edamon does -3.
Yeah.
Valkyremon does -5. Puts you down to 8k. When you check a security, Valkyremon deletes an 8k or lower.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
So you swing. You're already so you're 15k. You're at 12k because of Edamon. You're forced to swing. I go into Valkyremon. Your swing goes into security. You're dead.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm on a blocker and I just block you anyway.
Yeah.
Like it's so nutty. It's crazy.
It is good.
I felt like playing today. I felt like I should be on like at least 3 to 4 Edamon and 4 Valkyremon, no questions asked. It's just every time I had the cards in hand, I felt like I was in a winning position, and every time I didn't, it's all I was looking for. It's kind of felt like what I said about Zunamon at Nats, where I was running 3 and I was worried about 4 would be too many, and now I'm running 4 Zunamon.
Really? Yeah.
I've been on 4 Zunamon.
I know you were going back and forth on it. I like it a lot. I do think that Zunamon is good enough to justify.
And I lost to Mirage today.
Oh, really?
Because early game, I had 2 Edamons in hand and 1 Monsemon, and my Ukomon died in security, Demi Miramon triggers, and I say to myself, what's more valuable here? I have 1 Valkyremon in hand, 2 Edamons, and a Monsemon. And I'm like, I do want to keep this Monsemon, so I pitched an Edamon. That lost me the game right there on the spot.
Yeah, Edamon's good, dude. You just talked about it.
It's really good, and I think the big problem is that, again, this was like my first time really playing Numemon, like new Numemon. I wasn't thinking about the fact that Valkymon's just going to keep coming back to my hand. So as long as I have Edamons, I will just clear any mega he puts down.
Yeah.
Any mega is just gone. And that's crazy. I don't know.
That's really fucking good.
Like what? Where's
the
the game
answer?
going from there? Yeah. Because like any stack deck is just hard punished by, like it doesn't matter what you put me to. Like if I'm at 0 and I still drop an Edamon and put you to 7 and just clear your whole mega on field that you just established, you're gonna have to rebuild again. And then what? I do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is that that's another card that punishes you for having things on field at the end of turn. And the answer may just be that we are going to decrease things on field even further, if that remains as meta relevant as you're feeling it is right now.
And the big problem is that with Numemon, you have to keep things on field.
Yes.
Or you're just going to lose.
Yes. But Numemon having checks and balances is not the worst thing in the world because it is very good.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The problem is that playing against Numemon, you have to put stuff on field, which opens you up to Edamon, Valkyrmon.
Yeah.
I don't think Edamon's pretty good against Numemon, but only good in the Numemon deck.
Yeah.
Because you need to have... Edamon is an insane shield. Edamon, Valkyrmon is an insane defense, but Numemon provides all the aggression.
Yeah. I mean, the aggression more or less is like not meaningfully changing. So what are you... How many Monzemon are you currently running then?
4 Monze X.
And then in addition to that, you're running the Edamons.
2 Edamons. And I'm trying to figure out a spot where I can fit in a third.
Yeah. That's a lot of ultimates.
And it sucks. Like today, I was not getting good draws today.
Yeah.
Like I was not resolving... I don't think I maybe resolved 1 Numa X in 5 rounds. So that's like... I think I played 3 games. That's a lot of games to not resolve any Numemon X's. But the other tools are just so incredibly powerful that they kind of carry you through. I don't know what to do about Edamon. I don't know. Like every time you build a deck, you have to think about this now. It's so crazy because it's like it's a 2-card combo that they always have.
All right. Well, I'll let you ponder on that until next week, and then we'll sit down again. And I think that we're gonna have to start talking and thinking because EX6 is gonna be out when the next time we do a recording is. And I think that I definitely want to get a chance to sort of get some hands on those cards and see how they affect my feelings about how Numemon is going right now. Because I've not been exposed is my main issue. Yeah. You barely tickled the surface.
I don't think Numemon's going to be touched until BT17.
Yeah, I can see that.
And even then, it's Valkyrmon, man.
Valky, dude. All right, well, we'll call it there for now. With Noah going, we started this episode with you smiling. You were so chipper and happy.
I'm catatonic right now.
You were thinking about the lake house. You were excited to hear about Homestuck. And now,
I don't want
energy, Noah.
I don't want to hate Valkyrmon and Edamon.
Yeah.
But like every time I did it to someone, I'm like, this is not fair. It's not fair for them.
Again, it's kind of how I feel already about Rapid Mons and Mega Gargos.
This is worse.
This is
worse.
I know it's worse, but like, I think that like aces are a part of our game. That is the space that we exist within. Unless you want to go through a massive ban list to detangle what aces are currently doing, this is what the game is.
I don't think it needs to be a massive ban list set, but I think aces need to be scaled back. What they're doing.
Yeah, I'm shocked that they keep producing as many as they have been,
and they're all like.
It's not like they started. Yeah, it's not like they started printing like a bunch of junk ones.
Yeah,
they were just like, nope, let's keep aces as being one of the meta relevant things that like we keep going back to.
Yeah, guys, I'm shell shocked. I had not been thinking about it, and then as soon as I started talking about it, what do we do?
What do we do?
I don't know.
Well, what you can do if you want to contact us is email us at eratasonatapodcast@gmail.com.
Only if you're 8K or higher, though. Otherwise, Valkyrmon will delete you.
Shut up, dude. If you send us an email at that address, we will read it in 5 years. And if in 5 years you're of legal age, maybe one of us will date you.
Don't say that. There's already a thing going on about Dr. Disrespect.
What is happening? Oh, you're right. I have heard about this.
Yeah, he like came out and like admitted that he was
doing
a minor.
He was doing some no-nos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild to just like say like, yeah, I did it. I don't know the full story.
What's crazy to me, like, don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating for people to lie and deny.
But yeah.
But like to come out and be like, yes, I was messaging a minor and we were talking about inappropriate stuff. I'm like, that's crazy for you to say that.
Yeah. It does feel like, it's going way back, but it's like, if you're racist, if you're sexist, if you're Dr. Disrespect, shut up. Just don't. just don't be public about it.
Insane. What a world we live in. A world with Dr. Disrespect and Valkyriemon.
Do you think Dr. Disrespect would force you to attack at start of main phase?
All right, that's all, folks.
All right. Hopefully, some of you can also leave us some comments on YouTube, Spotify, or iTunes. And we'll be sure to get back to some of you. We aren't going to be reading any this week, but next week we'll be doing a catch-up.
We do appreciate all of you listening. I know that our podcasts have been a little bit less frequent.
I've been trying to be okay with that fact because I know that you're busy and Elden Ring is out, so I don't
care how you feel. I'm apologizing to the listeners.
Okay, well,
listeners, I have been extremely busy, so I might not be present on all the future podcasts coming up.
Ian might be hearing some more about Castlevania shortly, is what he's saying.
Yes. But I do appreciate the ones that have stuck around and are still listening. And I look forward to the busy season being over and to talk about global release of Digimon.
That'll be really exciting. All right. I think that's going to be it for us. Thanks for listening, everybody. And I suppose we'll see you next week, your time.
Ka-chow.
Ka-chow.